Welcome to the 21st century, a world that developed speed and technology, a world dependent on technology. We live in this world, but we're not alone here. In this world live unnatural men, hiding behind masks of anonymity online. They don't need direct physical access to their victims to do unimaginable harm, and you might be next.
Greetings everyone, and welcome back to this channel. I am UniWaifu, but you may call me Garlic. Now, as the title suggests here, you're probably here to see Jackie expose Kuro for his other bad doings. Unfortunately, he's been busy with his job lately and was unable to do the narrations for this episode, so I'm stepping in as his temporary narrator. If you are new to this channel and new to this series, I advise that you go watch the first episode of Inspection, even though it is pretty lengthy, and the update video he had made in order to have context and a better understanding of this whole drama that he has been covering. For a short summarization, Inspection is a series that we've made to expose the bad fruits of the SFM community, mainly focusing on Kuro's gang, an SFM group that has been known for scamming, asset theft, and harassing people. Now, if you have watched the first episode, you probably know by now that Kuro is a cyber criminal for conducting scams, asset theft, and false advertising in the SFM community. The update video also revealed Kuro's attempts to censor things on his end and attempted retaliations against us for exposing him, thus resulting in incriminating himself even more. Besides all of these terrible actions, Kuro was also known for harassing, defaming, doxing, and orchestrating witch hunts on people he dislikes. Before we begin this episode, I want to clarify a few things. We have heard from a lot of sources and testimonies about Kuro's gender. Some claimed he was a boy, some claimed they were a girl, but there was really no physical proof to reinforce any of these. In my honest opinion, Kuro's gender changes absolutely nothing in this matter, considering what this terrible person has done. In the first episode, we've already established that Kuro is a male, so we'll stick with that until we've got more information on this matter. For the remaining episodes of this series, we'll be talking about the harassments and defamations Kuro's gang have put our friends and many people through. For this episode, in order to protect the identities of some of the victims, they will be censored and will be referred to only as codenames. Let us begin with our first documented victim. Umbria is a 2D artist and a character designer for a small indie game development team. There are two other members in this team codenamed Artemis and Sypha. This small team was formed in December of 2017. Somewhere between 2017 and 2018, there was this drama going on in the Neptunia community. Unfortunately, there is no record of what happened back then besides witness testimonies, so I won't be going too deep into the details. For a short version, the supposed hooligan of this drama was screwed over and many people fled away from his server. The dev team was amongst the refugees who found themselves in a private server made by Gao Kai King. Apparently, Kuro, Toxic, and Mira were the mods of it, and they were the sole reason for the server later to get nuked by Gao himself. With how busy Gao was, the fate of the server was handed to these quote benevolent overlords to rule with an iron fist. And with the way Kuro's gang was handling things here, many people slowly lost their interest in the server and left. Those who didn't leave would soon get brainwashed by Kuro, as Kuro was also known for manipulating a lot of people in this server by giving them false info about someone they disliked to start some, quote, righteous witch hunt. The indie devs fell prey to Kuro's lies and became his white knights. They have said a lot of terrible things to some of my friends that even to this very day, they are still scared by it, including me, but I won't blame them for that. But things took a bad turn when Kuro made fun of Dai Tomodachi. Dai at the time was having some issues with his father abusing him. He uploaded a picture of his father to his Twitter and vented about it. But Kuro, of all things he should have done, used that picture to make a shit post and post it on his own Twitter, to no one's surprise, made Dai and a lot of people very angry. So instead of comforting Dai or give him some life advice when he was having a mental breakdown, somehow Kuro thought doing this to Dai would help the situation. This was also the same unedited picture Kuro's gang used to dox Dai in the comment section of the first inspection video. Gotta thank him for providing extra evidence though. Dai was ready to end Kuro's career back then, but was stopped by Gao, saying to prevent tension and unnecessary drama. Kuro was also forced to delete that shitpost. This was the turning point for Umbria to leave the server after realizing what kind of person Kuro really was. When Kuro found out Umbria was taking Dai's side, he banned Artemis and Sypha from that server. On November 5th, 2017, the indie devs were accepted to the Sanctuary after they all apologized for what they have done and tried to make amends for it. June 19th, 2018. Umbria and Artemis were promoted to mods in the Sanctuary. Around this time, there was some sort of a ceasefire treaty between Kuro's gang and the Sanctuary, so only Kuro and a few select people were allowed to stay in the server. However, Kuro would constantly try to test the patience of the admins and mods in the server with his shitposts and other attempts to piss them off. Toxicoat joined the server in September 23rd, 2018, and this was when the mods decided to do something about it. Samaras told Kuro and Toxic to leave the server peacefully within the next hour or else they would be banned. Before leaving, Kuro tried to convince Samaras that Umbria was eventually right in the head. This is because Umbria has autism, which she was very open and honest about, a flaw that Kuro knew too well by now. I believe Kuro was either trying to pull the last insult or trying to create distrust and tension between the staff before leaving. After pulling this low blow, Kuro and the rest of his associates were banned for good, but that didn't stop the alt accounts from finding their way back into the server. At this point, you would have thought everything would have been done and over with, but it doesn't stop there. Because of everything I've learned from investigating Kuro, one thing for sure is that he does not tolerate betrayal pretty well. Speaking up against him, questioning his logic, or even leaving his gang is enough to count as an act of betrayal. Kuro did not let this shit slide and began to defame the indie devs by spreading a false rumor about them engaging in a pedophilic relationship. Now that is complete bullshit. Umbria and Artemis began their relationship somewhere in 2017. Around this time, Artemis was 17 and Umbria was 23. In both of their countries, the legal age of consent is 16, so this was perfectly fine and legal. There was no grooming and shady stuff between them. Their relationship was also approved by their parents. When they were a part of Kuro's gang back then, Kuro and his minions even supported this relationship, even calling it cute. On September 25th, 2018, Kuro posted a shitpost about the indie devs on his Twitter account, mocking them. It's not hard to believe they were already spreading rumors about them engaging in a pedophilic relationship. This was a big shock to the indie devs. On January 27, 2019, Kuro made a shitpost mocking the Neptunia community, and also attempting to spread false rumors about this community, turning a blind eye to this pedophilic relationship as well. Now, the irony in this is that both Umbria and Artemis weren't even a part of the Neptunia community. They just so happened to hang out with people from it. And of course, somehow people defending this legal relationship from Kuro's defamation is an act of defending and turning a blind eye to a supposed crime, and that in turn also generalizes the rest of the Neptunia community. On July 20th, 2019, after spending months modeling a 3D model for their game project in Blender, Artemis posted a whip screenshot of it in the whip channel in the Sanctuary. Around that time, Jackie was also successfully porting a friend's model from Vroid into Gmod. Kuro's spies downloaded these screenshots and sent them to Kuro. Kuro posted these to his Twitter without giving them any clear context whatsoever and just mocked them. This isn't actually the first time Kuro has done this. Kuro's also made a lot of pics poking fun at the members of the Sanctuary using the models of their OCs that his spies have acquired and sent to him. August 30th, 2019, Kuro made another shitpost video using the same whip pic he acquired from his spies to startle the indie dev team.
That's pretty funny.
He also uploaded it on YouTube and shared it to Gamelad's server the next day. He also pinged Sypha, who's also a member of this server, to see the mock video, knowing that he will tell Umbria and Artemis about this treachery. Now, we really don't care what Kuro does on his cursed Twitter and YouTube, but what we can't stand is how much of a hypocrite he is, and how far he would go just to get under people's skin. Whenever someone that was harassed by Kuro came to reason with him about the stuff he has done, Kuro always said he's different now, don't dwell in the past with stuff anymore, and he's a forgiving person. I call BS on that one. For example, let's take a closer look at the DM between Umbria and Kuro on January 3rd, 2019. Umbria came to tell Kuro to stop his petty behaviors. Kuro responded that he doesn't have grudges with anyone. He saw the bad blood people had with him were one-sided, and he's very forgiving, more than people think. Well, if that was the case, these circle-jerking shitposts wouldn't exist, would they? I would like to hear from Kuro trying to explain to everyone why he pinged Sypha to this video 7 months later if he was that forgiving. A better question is, why Kuro even made it in the first place. One thing stands out the most from this entire conversation is that Kuro didn't even apologize to Umbria for the defamation he did to her and Artemis. These behaviors were being displayed clearly when Kuro and RPG had a talk not too long after Kuro insulted and slandered RPG in his very own server 1 month prior, simply because RPG learned about Kuro's model porting trickery all by himself. Kuro was clearly dodging every single thing RPG brought up to call him out as he did, not even apologizing to RPG for what he's caused, but instead pestered RPG to apologize to him, instead to prove that RPG is a bigger man than him. The same behavior shown when Subject 3 called Kuro out for scamming him, and also showing a bunch of evidence to back up his claim. Kuro's response was just too long, didn't read, and then completely dodged every point Subject 3 made. This clearly shows that Kuro doesn't want to acknowledge what he's done, and his only defense is what's in the past is in the past, so he can continue pulling this shit over and over again, and no one can criticize him despite the repeated behaviors. Of course, harassing people for nearly 3 years wasn't enough for Kuro. As a progressive thinking leader of his gang, he had bigger ideas. On October 28, 2019, a Twitter account that went by the name Cooker came to talk shit about one of Umbria's drawings on her account. Now, usually when you see someone talking crap about your stuff on social media, the first instinct most of us would do is either go to the sucker's account to see who this is, and then block them or just mute them. Well, Umbria found shook her. This Cooker person posted a real photo of Umbria and mocked her appearance. This account was later reported and the picture was taken down. Whether the account was suspended by Twitter or was coincidentally removed by the user itself shortly after the inspection video got released is still a mystery. Now, where did this individual take the photo from? It is most likely from the Sanctuary server because this is the only server where Umbria often posted pictures of herself and her pets to the gallery channel. If you watched the first inspection video, you should know that Kuro has spies in the server stalking our every move. Therefore, it's no surprise that they got their hands on one of Umbria's real-life photos at some point. We don't remember when she posted this particular photo in the server, as we were too focused on helping Umbria get this photo taken down from Twitter when it got leaked, so finding it now would be like searching for a needle in the ocean. It is not hard to see the connection between this account and Kuro. Both Kuro and Cooker have personal grudges against Umbria, both knew which server she is in, both have access to the same Discord server through alt accounts, both acquired this photo from stalking Umbria. There is evidence of Kuro stalking people in their affiliated servers. Cooker's account was made somewhere around 2019, so this is most likely an alternate account made for harassment purposes. So the possibilities are either Cooker was Kuro's alt account, or Cooker was one of Kuro's accomplices. To be fair, neither of these would make any difference. So, you have a couple people that were going through some rough times in their lives, and they were trying to support each other the best they could while trying to pursue their dream of making their game project a reality. And this scummy shitbag just tormented them for fun, just because they disagreed with what he had done for 3 years. All of this harassment affected the mental health of both Umbria and Artemis a lot, considering they were betrayed and screwed over by someone they once called a friend. And this constant harassment Kuro kept inflicting on them only made their recovery process somewhat similar to adding more salt and lemon to the wounds. They can't even live a single day without being reminded Kuro is still out there plotting against them. That is fucking sadistic and cold-blooded. Nothing can justify any of this. Not when Kuro has proven from time to time that he has not changed one bit, as this behavior has not ceased until Jackie called him out in the first episode. That further shows how much of a scumbag Kuro really is, when he only chose to stop and adjust his behavior when the consequences had finally caught up to him. This isn't the only time Kuro has gone this far to exact revenge on people over petty things. Recently, on September 8th, 2019, Mirabu Studios tried to step down from Kuro's gang quietly when he too himself could no longer tolerate Kuro's behavior. And what did Kuro do in response to this? Blackmailing. That's right, Kuro blackmailed Mira simply because he left his gang without telling him. At first, Kuro tried to threaten Mira through his friends by telling them he will not tolerate this betrayal, and if Mira does not comply, he will leak Mira's personal information. But it didn't work. Kuro then began leaking Mira's models on Reddit and to other people on Discord. On October 10th, 2019, Kuro began to vandalize Mira's wiki pages by altering the description of every single page into a bunch of insults towards Mira using his real name. One of the pages had Kuro leaving a text message indicating that he's going to leak Mira's Shizuka model to Gibbous so that Gibbous can defile her. It's gone worse from there when one of the pages had a picture of Mira's house alongside with the street ID number. Around October 21st, 2019, we heard that there was a meltdown between Kuro and Mira, as Kuro was going around leaking Mira's models to many people. We thought it was bait to trick people into becoming targets for another harassment, so we had to confirm this. First, Jackie approached Kuro and lied to him that he hated Mira, and wanted Kuro to leak Mira's models to him so that he can use them to do questionable things. It went smoother than we expected, and Kuro gave him these models so easily without a second thought. Kuro also confessed a lot of stuff that Jackie didn't even ask for, such as Kuro admitting he nuked Mira's server twice for some petty reason, and that's like the 4th or 5th server he had nuked so far. Kuro and his gang also kept making lewds with the Shizuka model against Mira's wishes because they thought it was funny. He claimed he was friends with Mira for 4 years and confirmed their friendship has ended. The next thing Kuro told Jackie was that recently, someone from his group doxed Mira. As it turned out, this guy lives somewhere near Mira's place, and it only took the guy 10 minutes to get to Mira's house to get the photo. So, Kuro acknowledged that a member of his gang also joined him in doxing Mira, and they went far enough to show Mira's house on his very own wiki page. After acquiring this information from Kuro himself, Jackie and I wanted to establish contact with Mira as soon as possible to confirm this, and we did. Mira also provided us a recorded footage of his last Discord DM with Kuro. In this part of the conversation, you can clearly see Kuro was threatening to dox and leak his private models. After Kuro was done talking trash to Mira and had him blocked, Kuro started erasing all of his messages to clear his tracks. And there you have it. Another shitty page in Kuro's history where he harassed an innocent couple to no end and betrayed his very own best friend without a second thought, going as far as to defame and dox them, thinking these actions are somehow justifiable. It makes me wonder how Kuro can even sleep at night after committing these actions, knowing too well what he did will only bring misery and pain to others. We are free to make whatever choices we want, but we are not free from the consequences of the choices we make. Although, one silver lining stood out of all this drama, it's that Mira actually watched Jackie's video and acknowledged his own faults, and he decided to cooperate with Jackie and I in the investigation against Kuro. Now, that sadly doesn't mean Mira is innocent and we won't call him out for the other stuff, but I think at least he does show some potential on his redemption arc, unlike Kuro. Even Omega the Squid Man, aka Omega Mario 89, who once got channel checked by Peck Surprise, actually turned out to be a better guy now. So, I believe perhaps in order for Kuro to even be able to mature at all, is for him to learn it the hard way. At the end of the day, life goes on. Whether you choose to move on and take a chance of the unknown, or stay behind, locked in the past thinking of what could have been different, one day you'll just be a memory to some people. Do your best to be a good one. And that's it for today's video. I hope you find this video informative and useful. Please, share this with your friends and your communities to raise awareness about these problems. I thank you all for watching this video, and I'll see you all again on the next episode of Inspections. Take care.
Smile, though your heart is aching. Smile, even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you'll get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you'll see the sun come shining through for you. Light up your face with gladness, hide every trace of sadness. Although a tear may be ever so near, that's the time you must keep on trying. Smile, what's the use of crying? You'll find that life is still worthwhile.